This is another update on a story that we wanted to make sure that we included. Let's go put this, please, up on the screen. We brought everybody the news about how the feds had raided 2 of P Diddy's residences, both in Los Angeles and in Miami, allegedly over a sex trafficking investigation. It appears now from the New York Post, who definitely would have the scoop on something like this. They say the feds are set to widen the Diddy sex probe over claims that the rapper boasted about shooting people, bribing jurors, and using J-Lo as a gun mule. It says, quote, 25 years ago, at 2:30 a.m. on a cold winter night, 3 NYPD detectives were called into Midtown North Precinct. Rap impresario Sean Combs, then known as Puff Daddy, with his girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and his bodyguard, as well as another rapper, had been arrested following a shooting inside of a Times Square club that had wounded 3 bystanders. The cops then found J-Lo at that time, quote, cuffed in the cage. Combs was in the station house, and his plans for a spectacular celebration of the new millennium, man, this is really dated, for a few days later were temporarily on hold. It says, now the events of that night and the sensational trial which followed are back in the spotlight. 2 law enforcement sources are telling the Post that the infamous shooting and the trial would be reinvestigated as part of the sweeping probe into Sean Combs, and specifically around the gun mule accusations, as well as an alleged cover-up and bribing jurors, and eventually got him off of one of the gun charges that we had listed and discussed here previously. Part of the reason that they swarmed and went into both of his residences, it appears, is into the sex trafficking investigation for which they were appearing to look for evidence. Obviously, transporting a minor across state lines for the purposes of sex is a federal crime of which there is a very, very lengthy jail sentence. And that's exactly what Mr. Combs is actually being accused of and was previously in some of these lawsuits. But it does appear, I mean, this is a serious, serious problem for him. This is up there with R. Kelly and others. I do know, Krystal, there's been a lot of conspiracy that this is like about covering up some of the people that he was involved with. And it will be interesting to see, are they going to tug on some of the threads here that include J-Lo or many of the other rappers and other famous people who are in his orbit, or are they going to do what they did with Epstein, which is focus on 2 charges from 20, 30 years ago or whatever that don't implicate anybody, throw Ghislaine in jail, just be like, yeah, we're just going to forget that the entire thing happened.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big question.
And the main character turns up dead.
Yeah. So.
The Epstein vibes here are off the charts.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you have Diddy at the center of this entire ring of celebrities. I mean, he hosted these infamous white parties in the Hamptons. He had not just his, it was not just the music industry, it was the fashion industry. He's this cultural figure with his hands in a lot of different pots. And so a lot of people catching strays right now with regards to the Diddy allegations. A lot of rumors flying about who knew what when. Because the allegations against Diddy, I mean, they last decades. They are extensive. There is a consistent pattern that they appear to reveal. There's a lot of just direct violence. There's a lot of psychological torture and manipulation. And then there's the allegations of sexual assault and, across state lines, which leads it into sex trafficking. Diddy, of course, denies all of this. But if you were besties with Diddy, didn't you probably know
100%
some of these things that were going on? Were you potentially involved in some of these things that were going on? And so that's why there's so much sort of connective tissue between him and Epstein, because of these elite circles that they were living in, potential dirt that they have on other people who inhabited those circles. And so, are we going to learn how deep this went, how far it went beyond Diddy? Who was enabling? You can't do the things that he's accused of, you cannot do on your own without other people knowing and being involved. So who was the Ghislaine Maxwell? Who were the other wealthy celebrities who kept their mouths shut because they knew what you had on them? Those are the questions that make this story, significant beyond this one man's apparent, horrific depravity and, cruelty, et cetera. That's what makes this incredibly significant. And it really is wild to see the way that, especially in the entertainment industry, it seems like you come across these characters in every sphere, because you have these power dynamics where so many people are desperate to get close to fame, close to money, get close to power, that they keep quiet, they enable the behavior, they watch the behavior, they potentially participate in the behavior, and that he was able to keep this under wraps for decades is astonishing. And, credit to Cassie, who was the first to file a lawsuit.
Right.
That really was the watershed moment that led to a lot of these revelations and very likely, ultimately led to this criminal investigation. So again, he denies all the claims and the charges, the allegations, but we will see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, and this is exactly, you made a just good point here about you can't participate or pull something like this off without a ton of infrastructure that is underneath you. I mean, part of the thing that really came out about how it was so disgusting about Harvey Weinstein is not just Harvey Weinstein, it was all of his assistants and all these other people, his brother, all these
the people in
studio
Hollywood who were
executives.
like, yeah, we knew.
Right, yeah.
It was an open secret.
It's like, what? Like, how is this allowed to, just continue happening over and over again? It's like, we need to know the names of a lot of those individuals, and particularly here, I mean, again, as I understand it, this story is popping off in pop culture in a way that I don't really think the mainstream media has grappled with just yet. The views, the level of interest is up there with Epstein, if not actually surpassing it, at least in some places. And if they participate in yet another cover-up in just a matter of years, people are really, really going to take notice of something like that and really learn how this so-called justice system and all of that really works whenever rich, powerful people are implicated in major sex trafficking investigations. So there we go.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.